Hello, very good evening, and welcome to Citti Media viewers. My name is Sharan Citti, and I'm your host. Kerala has been that one state which has witnessed political violence for decades together now, apart from Bengal and a few other states. And what is more concerning is the triangle in which this violence is taking place with the Islamists and the communists combined together against the Hindu community. We've all witnessed, and the data has showed us that in the past few years there have been many leaders and even karyakartas for that matter who've been very unfairly targeted, brutally murdered, and even rapes have been committed. Now, this is something that hasn't been discussed about. And so we wanted to discuss this with someone who has worked on the ground, who is seeing the situation unfold as we speak, as another BJP leader was brutally murdered just a few days ago. Jayashankar Ji, thank you so much for joining us. Namaste.
Namaste.
First of all, you conducted something called as Project Ahuti, and this is an extensive study as to what is exactly happening on the ground. Could you tell our viewers more about this?
Hello, everyone. In fact, Ahuti was aimed at documenting the people who sacrificed their lives for the organizations for the nationalistic cause in Kerala. So it started with the fact that there were many people who are inspirations for generations to come, but there were people are unaware of their names, their location, what they did, what good work they have done in their lives, so that these enemies of the country took their lives. So we conducted our team conducted a study, and we unearthed their history, their locations, and then we published it. In fact, our Prime Minister published it during the National Council meeting in Kozhikode, which was held in Kozhikode.
Right, and what does the data actually show? Can you share some of the highlights from what your research and the report has reflected?
See, the people who often say there is intolerance in this country, people who say that this country is going through intolerance, they are the real culprits in this case. So it all starts from you can say from the 50s, when Shri Guruji Golwalkar visited Kerala. From that time itself, they started this kind of attacks. Then it went on. So at that time, you can think that our organization was not even in its toothing stages. It had just a few people here and there. So at that time itself, the intolerance had started, which developed into a mass killing field, especially in few districts in the northern part of the state. And over a period of time, we have lost around 300 people, and many houses and many property has been vandalized, and many people are bedridden, many people are have lost their dear ones. So this is actually a sad story. In fact, where a country, in a country where people are being targeted because they have a particular political thought or a political ideology.
Right, and this also has a very big historical context to it, right? Because it's not happening very recently with the emergence of, say, SDPI or PFI. I mean, of course, it's amplified to a very large extent, but what we also ignore is the inconvenient history that bothers Kerala, especially with Islamists like Tipu Sultan invading and looting and plundering, hundreds of Hindu houses there.
Yeah, in fact, the Tipu's history, if you see, he had invaded and he had come till around Kochi, which is like the middle of Kerala. From there, Travancore kingdom had resisted a lot, and then due to the strategies adopted by the Travancore kings, he couldn't further come to the south part of the state. And that is the reason why, if you see from Kochi to Thiruvananthapuram, there are a lot of temples still alive. There are live temples. There are big temples which are not looted. Even the Padmanabha Swami temple, for that matter. But from Malabar region and Kochi region, if you see, it has been completely vandalized, and temples were looted. Even the famous temples like Kali temple and the temple in Guruvayur, which is the biggest Vishnu shrine in apart from Tirupati, you can say, in south. So even the Guruvayur temple was attacked, and the Lord had to be moved to Travancore, and thousands of people had to flee from their state to Travancore and settle down here. And thousands of people were converted forcibly. People were looted. Temples were destroyed. It was like a Mughal attack. What happened in North? It was a similar situation in Kerala when Tipu attacked. So from hence, there has been a lot of communal violence going on in the country, in which ended again in a big rebellion in 1921, where again thousands of people were killed in the Malappuram district in 2-3 taluks. People were again killed in the name of Khilafat movement. So after that, once our organization like the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh and BJP and then Sangh, etc., started working on the ground, these Hindus have got that feeling that there is someone to protect us, and then there is a unified force that has come. So again, these Islamist forces feel that there are this is a threat, so they try to eliminate many of our leaders, and that is going on for some time now. Not only in Kerala, in entire country it is going on. Especially in south states like Karnataka, where we have lost more than 10-12 people, I think. In Tamil Nadu also, we have lost a layer of Hindu leaders. And in Kerala, Ashwini Kumar killing is a big example where a prominent Hindu leader had been, he was brutally killed in broad daylight in Kannur. After that, a series of killings have taken place. So this
what is more
organization,
distressing is that history is conveniently distorted by many of these people. You were talking about the Mopla riots. Today, Mopla riots is known for the non-cooperation movement. Gandhi blamed the Hindus for not being accommodative enough of the Mopla Musalmans. And even with Tipu Sultan in Karnataka, I'm sure you're aware, there's a huge debate to call him a freedom fighter or a traitor, And this debate has been going on for the last 200 years. I'm sure Tipu must be smiling from his grave, looking at the kind of debates that are going on. And even Malayali filmmakers, I've heard, they've tried to sort of whitewash whatever has happened in 1921, right? So in that sense, how has this political culture by the Islamists and communists sort of destroyed the fabric of the entire state, and what is the way forward for this?
If you ask me, this narrative building, even in our textbooks in the north also, we study Mughals are top class. They have built world class monuments. They have contributed a lot for art and literature. Mughal kings are great, and our kings are nowhere in our books, right? It was the same Marxian, this thought process has taken over the academia across the country. I'm not saying it's just confined to Kerala. It has happened across the country, and you can see a reflection here, more reflection here, because of the prominence of the communist parties in this area. So they always have a soft corner for Islamic extreme Islamism. If you see globally, also there is a tie-up between the left academia, left intellectuals, and the Islamic State. So that is a prominent factor in destroying the true history and hiding the real facts. If you see the Mopla riots, for example, when it happened, there are many narrations. When it happened, those years. In the near future, many historians had written about it. Not after 100 years. I'm saying during 20s, 30s. Many of them were Congress people, Congress leaders at that time. So they have very well narrated how it had happened, what was the intention. It was just clearly a religious issue, and it was a massacre of Hindus. It is a clear fact, not only Hindus, Christians. If you see Tipu Sultan, history also, he has the kind of violence he has unleashed on Christians. It's a clear example that it's a religious issue. Only my God and my ideology should survive, and others have no place in this world. I think the same ideology goes with Marxism also, that my ideology is superior to others, and others should not practice their thought process or their ideological position. That is why they keep killing. From end of 1960, towards the end of 1960, they started killing people. Vadikal Ramakrishnan was the first victim of violence. He was a tailor who was, as a common man, a very sadhu man who was running a tailoring shop in Kannur district, and he joined Jansangh. That was his crime. So he was killed. From then, they killed many people, including ladies. In Alapi, they have killed a lady in broad daylight. She was walking with her husband, and both of them were killed. So these kind of things keep happening with Marxism also. So Marxist terror and Islamic terror are both reality, and both has to be dealt with intellectually as well as through legal means.
Right. The new dynamics which are emerging from Kerala is very interesting. Now you see the church going out and calling out love jihad. Finally, have they woken up to reality, and what brings this particular change?
See, there was an issue a few years back. A professor called Joseph. He had published a question paper in one of the Christian institution. He was a professor. It was an aided institution, and he unfortunately he did a question paper where he mentioned some name of their god or something like that. But after that, his hands were chopped in broad daylight in front of his family, his sisters, etc. So the Christian community made a mistake. That is what they realized. That is what I understand from the narrations from many community leaders, that they didn't support Mr. Joseph at that point because they said it was his mistake. But I'm sure if it was in 2021 today, the situation would have been very different, because from then what happened was there was the Christian community realized the real face of this terror. Their ladies, their kids were wooed in the name of love jihad. Many of them, they have the numbers. It is in thousands. I am telling. And then there is also this business jihad, where the establishments are being targeted. People start businesses in areas where Christian community is dominant. Then there is this food jihad, where of late issues have come up, like halal food, halal products being induced. Then there is this drug jihad, where a lot of Christian youngsters are being trapped, and there are cases where ladies are raped after giving drugs. So there is narcotic. Even a bishop came out and he told about narcotic jihad, and he was targeted. So the Christian community, as in totality, is scared. One, they have the data. They are very clear about what is happening, and now they have started openly coming out, and they have started a campaign against these forces.
Right. And do you think this will reflect in the political dynamics very soon?
See, political dynamics, for example, if now the central government has taken a stand to increase the age of marriage for ladies to 21. I'll tell you an example. Now, Congress is outrightly rejecting it. So is CPIM, because they want to please their masters. But the Christian community, a very reverent bishop has come out. Is the cardinal. He has come out and he has very clearly told that we are going to support the central government. So what I'm seeing is above the political appeasement of Congress and CPM, the community has realized that the real protectors of them, or the real people who wants to see India grow is on the other side. So they have started. There is a realignment that will happen very soon.
Right. And one other factor that at least I've studied as a security studies student, and which people do not often talk about, is the issue with Northern Kerala and a few areas of it where a lot of recruitments to Islamic State, Al Qaeda has happened historically. And even while I was in college in Christ University, which is considered a mini Kerala already, there was an MBA student who went all the way to Syria to fight for the Islamic State. And that is the depth of the issue, where even students, Kerala students from Bangalore, are being tapped into. And many of these people come from Northern Kerala. Now, of course, we have a very limited academic understanding of the issue, but you've seen personally a lot of what is happening on the ground. So could you shed some light on it, please?
I think that belt starts from in the entire Konkan area. If you see Mangalore, Bhatkal, or that area, every to Kasargod. So this is a belt where this is continuously happening. It has relation to the coastal, geography also.
Right.
And the successive governments in Kerala, the CPM leader, who was the chief minister earlier, Mr. Achyutanandan, had openly told that in another 30 years they will make it an Islamic state. Kerala is in the verge of becoming an Islamic state, he had told. So that means without, I will tell you another incident where two of the DGPs, when they got retired, just after retirement, both of them, actually many of them after retirement, have told that this is becoming an Islamic state. So I'm sure with clear inputs, they are speaking these facts. So there are people who, even 10 years back, I think five of them had crossed over from Kashmir to Pakistan, and they were shot down. So people started moving from physically from here to Kashmir and then crossing over to Pakistan. So this means there is some problem with our intelligence, state policing, that these people are able to easily manage these things. People were wooed in the name of love jihad, and they were taken to Afghanistan. A couple of ladies are already there. They are in Afghanistan trying to come back.
Right.
So these Nimisha Bhatima and Maril, I think. So these girls are trapped. This is all happening in broad daylight. Police is helpless. So that is the failure of complete squarely. I will blame the state government. If they are active, the police is active, these things will not happen.
Right. And what do you think is the way forward, especially because even politically, somehow the BJP is not able to grow very strong? Of course, their presence has grown on the ground, and they have tried to make the presence felt with the Sabrimala movement and a lot others. But when you take South India as an entity, barring from Karnataka, this is the complaint that the BJP is still, at a very nascent growth in the South, especially Kerala, where there is high political violence. So, as a Karyakarta, as a person who is involved with the party, what would you say is the way forward?
Feel is the BJP's cadre or BJP's presence in Kerala is not that limited. It is there in every village, every panchayat, every ward. If BJP conducts a program, it is be as good as what we will do in UP or Maharashtra or Madhya Pradesh or Karnataka. There are many pockets in Kerala where we can compare it to many states, BJP winning states. There are many constituencies in Kerala where we are losing by a very small margin. So politically, BJP is not that small. But however, we don't have that winning margin because of a couple of reasons. One is the demographic reason. So whenever we are in the verge of winning, the other two forces will have they unify and defeat us. And some cases where some particular community also they try to defeat us. So that part we are taking care now. We are trying to grow much more in those areas and try to cover that gap. So winning will happen very soon. BJP will start winning in Kerala because people have understood very clearly that it is an existence problem. It is a civilizational issue. We don't have a choice. There is a huge wave of terror that is hitting us. So we have to do something. People have that feeling now. Not only in North Kerala, as you asked me earlier, there are districts which are grown much more than the national average. Especially in Malappuram, if you see, the growth rate is very high. So population dynamics, if you see the vital statistics of Kerala, in the last few years, the particular community is growing much faster than others. So these things are concerning. So government, on the other hand, is taking care of it. Intelligence is working. Central government is understanding the problem. If you see in reports like the last 5-6 years, we have been able to control the narcotic as well as gold smuggling cases, and many people are being arrested. NIA raids are being conducted. ED is conducting raids. So these are being addressed very clearly. But the political aspect, BJP will have to work more harder to start winning elections.
Right. Let's hope that Kerala has a very bright future ahead and we can overcome all of the existing problems that we have right now. And first of all, please take care of yourself and all the party members, because it seems that is the biggest priority at this point of time, given the life threats that all of you face. So I hope all of you stay safe.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us. Namaste, and I hope we can have this conversation again. And we want more people from Kerala to genuinely join us and have a conversation. And I do have a lot of leaders off the record telling me that they're extremely scared of coming out in the open because of the threats that they receive to their life and their family. So I can only imagine how difficult this must be.
Yeah, as I told you, there are multiple areas of gray areas where we are working on. Right. But somehow our nationalistic feeling and the pride that we have received through the civilizational benefit that we have from Shankaracharya ji to Parshuram, Lord Parshuram. These are our masters from whom we have learned the art of survival. So we will definitely survive these threats.
Right. Thank you so much for joining us, Chief. Namaste.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.